Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Friday afternoon, which means that it's time for us to talk about coping with feelings. And today I'm going to be talking about the feeling of frustration and wanting to quit when you're trying to achieve something. We all know that feeling, where when it gets difficult, it's a case of, do I really want to do this? And so, what I want to do is to hopefully tell you a couple of stories that will inspire you to understand there are some things in life that you want badly enough to fight through frustration, to fight through failures, to just fight your way through until you achieve what you want to achieve. Even if it takes the rest of your life, that you don't quit. You just want it that badly, and you're prepared to take as long as it takes to get there. Now, sorry, I'm having a bit of a problem here. Things fell down. I was trying to grab a Kleenex here. Allergies are hitting me again. Okay, so for those of you who are new to the program, welcome. It's always a pleasure to see you. I'd like to introduce Jody, our admin, who will be chirping in and out during the course of the broadcast, and certainly is somebody that understands the value of not giving up. And so, as I go into this, before we actually get into the topic, a couple of things. I wanted to, first of all, give my thoughts and prayers, and I'm certain for some of you as well, to all the family and friends of those people who were affected by the January 6th insurrection. Um, I'm certain that the memories of today, of that day, on this anniversary, must be horrific. And I know how I feel about it. But, you know, I just want to make sure that we send our thoughts and prayers to them. Jody's saying you're wearing my favorite sweater. Jody, I wasn't going to wear this today. I was going to wear something else, and I thought, you know, I don't know how many times you've worn your Christmas sweater. Well, I say my Christmas sweater, but that's when I'm inclined to wear it over the Christmas time, and it will make Jody happy. So mission accomplished. I'm glad that I did. I made that decision. We wished Nyasha a happy birthday on January the 1st, and now we're going to keep our fingers crossed that everything goes well for her appointment with a specialist on the 12th. Hi there, Hawkeye. Good to see you. I definitely got allergy issues now. I should have taken a pill, but I didn't. So you're just going to have to grin and bear it with me. All right, so my thoughts and prayers for everybody who might need it. And if you do need it and need thoughts and prayers put up and you're a regular viewer, please let us know. I will put it up on the Facebook page and make sure we get the team behind you on that one. And if we missed your birthday and you're a regular viewer, please let us know. It means it's not in our database. And, I do try and check that each time before I broadcast to make sure that we are covering your birthday, because I know it's important. Well, I think it's important. It's important to me, so therefore it probably is important to you. My first quote of the day is never give up on something you believe in. And I want you, for those of you who are here in the room at the moment, to think about some of the things that I believe in because you've seen me not quit on them. Can you think of anything? And the reason I say that is because you watch me week after week after week, and there's certain things that I just don't quit on. I just keep at it until I get there. I am prepared to fail many times in order to get the knowledge I need to be able to succeed. Yes, Hawkeye saying my plants. You remember I put tomatoes and peppers into the window to see if I could grow them over the winter. We're in winter now, over the fall in the greenhouse window, and then through into the winter. I want to tell you, I actually I knocked off that. I had a pepper that was about this big, and I accidentally knocked it off when I went to water this week. It broke my heart, but it happened. But Hawkeye, I did it. Now, I know some of you are saying, Sal, you spent all that time and you got one tiny little pathetic tomato. This is not one tiny little pathetic tomato to me. This is, I couldn't do this a year ago. And I can. Why do they taste better when they've. Mm, I actually should have kept that for this evening's broadcast. But I did it. I don't want to tell you. I nearly didn't see it. You see that wreath I've got there? It was behind the wreath, and I was busy watering this morning, and I thought, that's a different red. Where's that red come? I got a tomato. Okay, so there's an advertisement, and some of you will have seen this. Yes, and Hawkeye's saying growing your own food is pretty amazing, no matter what the size is or the quantity. All right, it's just like I will talk more about my hydroponics in later broadcasts, but I cannot tell you how much joy I'm getting from it. You know, I've had a couple of failures already. Do I care? No, I expect to. You see, I think if you understand life, you understand there are going to be a couple of failures in life. I can think of a couple of mine, that's for sure. There's an ad on television. I don't know if any of you have seen it. The one where it talks about the three P's being price, price, and price. I think it's the Colonial Pen. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that if ever you want to succeed in life, I want you to remember my three P's, which are not price, price, and price, obviously, but they are plan, patience, and perseverance. Whatever it is that you want, remember to plan it. Now, planning, plan not just plan A. Be ready with plan B and plan C in case plan A doesn't work. Because what do we know in life? Plan A very rarely works. And you need to get this feeling. We're talking about feelings today. We need to get this feeling of being prepared, not scared. Hawkeye is saying one of my junior high teachers used to always say there's no such thing as failure, only delay. Yes. And that's for me. I don't feel that a failure is a failure. I feel it's like, okay, what was it? Edison said, I found one more way that it doesn't work, which shortens the number of things I have to try until it does. And that's what I want to show you today. You see, sometimes you can run. And sometimes you can't run, you need to walk. And sometimes you haven't even got the strength to walk towards your goal. What you have is the ability to crawl. But you see, the most important thing is that you do whatever you can to take one more step or crawl or whatever towards what it is you're trying to accomplish. And I'm pretty certain there's some people in the universe right now who have already given up on their 2023 resolutions. What do you think? Yes, Jody's saying that she likes the quote that a failure is an opportunity for a course correction. Yes. It means I'm going down that road. That one doesn't work. Let me try the next road. All right. So that's all that it is. So let's talk a bit more about this planning and patience and perseverance. And I want to take Jody as an example here, as usual. I talk about Jody a great deal because, she struggles with more illness than most people realize. And yet she is still here every single week. She is still here supporting me 7 days a week. And quite honestly, she has more, if she wanted them, she has more excuses than most people I know as to why she should not do that. So what it proves is that she really wants to be here. All right. That obviously it brings her some pleasure. Yeah, she's saying, you are my joy. Isn't that wonderful? So however frustrating it is, however much she doesn't feel like getting up and being, getting the two brain cells working enough so that she can be here and to help me, because she gets joy from it, it is her pleasure. So thank you, Jody, and I assure you it's my pleasure to have you backing me up as well. So here's something that happened to Jody that I want you to listen to, because it demonstrates everything that you need to remind yourself about on a daily basis. This story must have started, and Jody will correct me where I'm wrong on this, but I believe it started back in November. And the reason I think that is because it was in November, excuse me, that I started using my walking program. And Jody decided she wanted to get it too, even though she can't walk. She wanted to get it because she wanted to do the upper body motion. When I say she can't walk, she struggles to take steps. So she wanted it because she wanted to do the upper B. We proved a few years ago that, even just sitting on the couch and doing hand drills, ups your heart rate and things. So she wanted this program as well. So she researched it. So she planned. The plan research is planning. She researched it, found a copy, and ordered it and got it. It was a bit delayed, I think, Jody. Am I right? You didn't get it immediately. So she was very excited when it arrived, because what was her vision? Well, now that I've got it, I can just slot it in, and I can be walking in no time before Christmas. But it was delayed. Did it get to you before Christmas? I think it did, just before Christmas, right? But it got caught up in the Christmas rush and whatever happened. We know about these deliveries, right? So then Jody did what I can only describe as a Jody. Here's what she did. Something in her mind said, wait a minute, if I'm going to have the walking program, what's Lionel going to have? Now, Lionel's her husband. That's a typical Jody thing. Now, before I enjoy my gift to myself, what about Lionel? And she didn't buy him a disc. No, no, no. She went back to planning and decided she was going to buy him a secondhand PS4 or 5, I think. Jody will correct me. Anyway, a PlayStation for a Christmas present. With all the discs, PS4. I'm correct. All right. So isn't that typical? All right. Before she pushed her disc into her system, she decided to buy Lionel a system for himself. Now, the reason I say that is because the disc that she has goes on the Wii, WII. And anyway, so then she goes into researching. She finds one locally. She finds one at a good price with some discs attached to it and buys it for Lionel for Christmas. Well, that's pretty good. So now she has the vision. All I need to do now is to hook that up and we're a go. And then I can get back to the program that I want to put in the Wii. But how many of you know life isn't that simple? And she realized that she was going to have a problem, because these things all have plug-in things that you have to put in. And it would mean that every time Lionel wanted to play, they'd have to pull out the Wii cords and put in the ones for the PS4. And so they realized, after a bit more planning and patience on this one, they actually decided that what they needed, yes, she's saying it was a tangled spaghetti bowl of cords, chargers, and splitters. Yes. So what she decided was they wanted a permanent doodad. Wonder if I can draw that. Okay. And so what they needed was a doodad that they could put not only the cords to the Wii in, but also the cords to the PS4. And then all they had to do is switch between the two, if that makes sense. All right. Now, that probably isn't what it looks like, but that's basically what it does. So if Lionel and Jody wanted to use the PS4, they just switch it over. Clever idea. The only thing is they've got to buy one. And then Jody's reminding me that she ordered the wrong one. Not once. She ordered the wrong one twice. More delay, more patience required, more frustration, more, Is it worth doing this? Oh, yes, you bet it is. So how much time did they have to spend researching the right one and testing the wrong ones? A lot. You see, here's the thing. Do not fear failure, rather fear not trying. And I am certain that in all that failure, Jody, you and Lionel learned a lot about splitters. Now, the other thing I need to mention here is Jody and Lionel are not flush with a whole lot of money. So I am pretty sure, and Jody does not have to confirm this, I am pretty sure that they had to give up some food in order to buy a splitter. But you see, it was worth it to them, right? If you want it badly enough, you don't mind sort of saying, okay, well, this month we'll do slightly less on this so we can afford to buy that. You see, you don't mind if you want it badly enough. Jody's confirming they're now experts at splitters, okay, and switchers, if you like. I like this quote. It said, "Never give up. Today is hard. Tomorrow will be worse. But the day after tomorrow, there will be sunshine." I love that. So, how much would you be prepared to give up in order to have success in what it is you want to be successful in? So eventually they had all the technology, and now they had the not only the technology, but they had the experience on how to use it. I'm pretty certain by the time they got the third one, they were pretty quick at getting it all together because they knew exactly where everything had to go. Ah, yeah, Jody's confirming, right? We had to balance the teeter-totter. Take from one place to put it into another. Of course you did, Jody. It's like time, all right? We all have 24 hours a day. What we do with it is our choice. And, some of us spend far too much time playing stupid games and not enough time um, doing things that will bring us success in whatever it is we want success in. But, apparently playing, watching TikTok for 3 hours is considered productive. Well, maybe if you're watching recipes and things, but think about that. How much time do you waste? I'm going to talk about that. What I wanted to make sure you understand, Jody kept taking one more step in the right direction, whatever that was, just one more step. Very patient. That one is the wrong one. Okay, so let's send it back and let's order the next one. By the way, it delayed payment as well. So here's the thing. It is now January the 6th. Just hold on one second. It's now January the 6th, and I want you to remember where this story started. This story started with Jody wanting to do the walking program. Jody? I want to say that I totally understand why you took the diversion that you did to look after Lionel. That to me just didn't surprise me at all. As I said, it was just doing a Jody. I can imagine the joy you had and Lionel had when you got the PS4 working. And when you played your first game, which was Olympic skiing or something. I can imagine the joy you had, and I am convinced that it was well worth waiting on the walking program so you could have Lionel up and running and enjoying the programs. So well done on making what I think was a great joy for you both. Jody's saying it was so magical. But she's saying she still has not managed to take one step on the walking program. But, we know she's going to. Why? Because we know it's Jody, and I know she wants to do that. And therefore she will have Yeah, she's doing a lot of the prep work, the planning through me, obviously, because I got a lot of the shortcuts now. Um, and I know that she's got the patience because here we are 2 months later and she still hasn't got back to it yet. But the interesting thing is, imagine the joy she's going to have when she takes the first 5 steps on that thing. And then, of course, you know how much frustration there's going to be to get that far. And what I said to her is, talk to me when you've managed to get out of the stadium. And the reason is because when you put that program on, it takes a month of Sundays to set your avatar up. And all the time there's this music going on that's driving you insane. Turn off the sound, Jody. Just follow the instructions. Turn off the sound. The instructions are written, so you don't have to listen to that stupid music going on the whole time, which I found very stressful. But once you get into the stadium, you're going to turn your music back on again, obviously, because that's when you start the program. And by the way, here is a word of advice even when you first start. If ever you get the opportunity to buy a little bit of music, buy it. In other words, click on the music before you click on anything else. You get really tired of the first 3 songs in a hurry. All right, I want to tell you. And by the way, each song you click on, it isn't one. Sometimes you need 5 or 6 bits to make up another song. So, but I want to tell you, concentrate on getting songs at the beginning. Whenever you see them, the little round discs in the sky and the green edges, click on them. So we know she's going to get there. And I'm pretty certain that pretty soon you're going to get feedback from Jody on how she's doing. How am I doing on that? Have I had enough practice? It's part of the planning, and we go to patience. I think practice, if I put a 4th P in, it would be practice, and I consider that to be part of patience. I'm doing really well, except this last week I've been busy doing other things, and I didn't do as many as I would have liked. I didn't average 10,000 a day, but I did average over 7. I'm not complaining. So the question that I have is, would you be prepared to go through 2 months of hard work, frustration, money, everything else to get what you want, as Jody did? Yes, Jody's saying that she smiles every time I tell her I report my step count every night. And the reason I do that is to remind her that I'm still doing it. It's like, and the other thing I find so magical about this, Jody, is that when people roll their eyes and say, oh yeah, fine, that's what you're doing. I said, would you like me to prove it? What? Would you like me to prove that I'm not just saying this? Because I can prove it. And it's funny how people change their mentality when I can show them on my watch program. I can show them exactly how many steps I took in a day. And by the way, you are allowed to scream. You are allowed to cry. But do not give up. Remember that. You are allowed to scream. You are allowed to cry with frustration, but don't give up. All right? Success isn't easy. Unlike most people, a few of us understand that reality. It's not easy. It requires a great deal of planning. It requires a great deal of patience and practice, and then a great deal of perseverance before you get where you want to go. Now, some of you have been following me for a long time, and you will remember, let me just show you here. You will remember this card that I made. Okay. How many of you remember when I made the first one of these? And let me tell you the reality of it. This card when I first made it, took me nearly a day just to cut the 17 bits I needed to put it together. Count the number, people. 17 individual bits go into making this card. Okay? So the first time I made it, it took me nearly a day just to cut it out. And then it took me another day to put it together. Well, probably an evening. And that to me was just mind-blowing. And I'm thinking, why would I even make this card? It takes so long. Let me tell you why. I love the impact it has when I give it to people. Also, I love the impact it has when I don't give it to people. You know, when people are visiting my house and they see it, they go, oh my God, that's so beautiful. I agree. And this does not look like I bought it at a bargain basement Christmas card place, right? This looks like somebody spent a lot of time and effort. And you know why? Because it's true. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is I made 6 this week. In fact, I made more than 6. Here they are. And here's the difference. It took me a morning to cut all the bits for 6. Remember, a year ago, it took me a day just to cut the bits for 1. Now I can cut all the bits for 6 in a morning. Imagine how that feels. Can you imagine the joy in that? And then I can spend one evening, maybe 2 at the most, during my binge watching segment of the evening. And I now know how to construct them in a hurry. When I say in a hurry, I don't mean in a hurry. I am amazed at the different ways I put it together today because I've got all that experience. And who gave me the experience? Remember, Wade ordered 20 for Christmas. He wanted to give them away for Christmas. And by the time I'd done 20 of them in a hurry, because I needed to get them done in time for him, you can imagine I learned a lot. And so now that experience is paying off big time. But this is a year later. That's what I'm trying to say. It took a lot of practice. Now then, this week, although I'm already starting to do stock for the next Christmas, right? That's what I wanted to show you. I'm already planning next Christmas. I'm already making cards for next Christmas. Why? I know people that wanted this one and couldn't get it because I had sold out. So what am I going to do? Make sure I got stock this year. All right, so now then, the next thing I wanted to show you was I saw this really pretty card. And we're going to call it Dotty. Because basically that is what it looked like, okay? But this is probably the 5th one I printed, and you can probably see it's missing a whole lot of stuff here and missing a whole, I have no idea why. But you know, after I'd wasted that much paper, I put it aside for the day. Just that, you know, and I even wrote to Jody at one point and said, I don't know if I'm even going to bother. And what was happening to me in the first 4 or 5 was it was ripping all the hearts out and just making a total mess. And I said, I just don't understand what's going on. But part of me goes, I'm the only one that knows that it's not meant to look like this. But what I did was I put it aside. And then every day when I went into my craft room, I tried again, you know, made a few more adjustments. Because what I found out is sometimes it's just a combination of the right mat that it's sitting on. It's a combination of the right pressure, the right blade, everything. And then This was where I got to yesterday morning. I was so excited. I've got most of the hearts working. Don't ask me why. What happened to that one, those two down there? No idea. No idea at all. Defies logic, right? Why did it cut out everything else and not those two? I have no idea. But you know, I don't quit. Jody will just be rolling her eyes at this point. And by the time I went to bed last night, I got there. Now that looks pretty perfect, doesn't it? But it isn't. I know you think that's, and actually it makes a really nice card just like that. All right. But if you look very, you can't see this, but these little hearts are meant to fold. But I quite like it just like this. I think it's really pretty just like this. I will talk more. By next week, these hearts will fold. You know that, because I'm not quitting on it. Can you imagine how much paper I wasted? But you know, is it a waste? Because what I want to tell you, it's like the three wise men. Once you've got it, once it's all working, I can literally set it to run while I'm busy cooking each night, right? And in other words, I can be cutting out a couple of these every night while I'm cooking, or, you know, while I'm doing the housework or whatever. You know, I can be multitasking once it's working and I know the combination is right. So I am one step closer to getting this one right. Very exciting. That's Dottie. Yeah. And I remember when I told Jody, I even said, I'm not even sure I'm going to continue with this one. It's way too much work. But, you know, it wasn't. It was way too much work because I didn't have it right. I had it on the wrong mat. I had it with the wrong blade. I had it with the wrong everything. And that's why it was causing a problem. But it took me nearly a week to find that out. So then I moved on. And one of the things that I am busy working on is shadow cards. All right, you see this? But what I found out was that when you mail them flat, okay, not everybody's going to know to bend this front bit out. Hang on a second. To make it stand up properly. All right, I'll have to put instructions in. So then I thought about it for quite a while. And what I did was I came up with I don't know if you can see that, this little concertina thing at the bottom here, which I'm still working on. It's a work in progress. But now what it does, and there's a bit that's missing off the top, but what it does is you can't see that, makes it stand up and gives it far more dimension. It's not in the original design, but I wanted that to work badly enough to come up with an answer. So there was a bit that goes in the top as well. Come on. And that's what, you know, what I'm still playing with, obviously. But it's a beautiful card. It will work. So, how much frustration in that one? A lot. How much time does it take to put it together? A lot. Why do I find these complicated cards? Because they bring me joy eventually. So, then I moved on to a really nice little card that I saw that basically looked like this, right? Except trimmed, obviously. But I just wanted to put the piece of paper in there so you could see it. Now, that's got to be easier, all right? Think about that. It's got to be easier. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but no, wait a minute. Why is that there and this has got nothing at the bottom? So something's wrong here. Got to print another one now. But that one was about the 10th one. No, 6th one, I think. Because before it, I managed to save some of the ones out of the garbage. Here are some of the versions that I had. Hang on. It's got stuck in there for some reason. There we go. So this one didn't work properly. Can't remember what was wrong with it. Oh, this one didn't work properly. This must have been the first one. That's probably the second one. This is while I'm learning how to get it off the mat. I can't remember what was wrong with that one. Some of these I could actually reuse. This one definitely was near the beginning. Oh, okay. This one obviously was near the beginning as well. This was what I thought was going to be an easy one. That's okay, basically. And then this one. So all these didn't pass quality control. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And each time I'm wasting not only this bit of paper, but also the fold of it as well. That's 8 sheets of paper. Is it worth it? These obviously still have to be cut, right? And it'll end up looking like this. Still got to be glued, but I think it's worth it, obviously, because I keep doing it. But remember how many times I have to do it before I get it right. Like Jody and her splitters, right? The first one didn't work. Neither did the second. And so then I carried on because, all the time I'm thinking, how am I going to get Dottie to work? Remember, Dottie was my motivation here. And while I'm trying to think of ways to get Dottie to work, I'm busy trying other things to try and find some joy in my life. So then I tried another one. What have I got here? Let me just see which ones I've got, because some of them are more entertaining than others. Yes, I realized that at the time I bought Dottie, I also bought another one that was very like Dottie. And I don't have any of the ones that failed. But here are the ones that succeeded. Can you see how they're like 3D? But how much did I learn from trying to do the first Dottie? You see how these hearts just, fold out and have this 3D effect. It's wonderful. And then, of course, once I get it working, then I'm going for now what? And so this is what it looks like with glitter behind it. You probably can't see that. Get it the right angle. Anyway, that's got glitter behind it. How much joy do you think I get when it works? And now I can print them without having to think too much. But I didn't stop there. Then I I ended up with another nightmare. And I won't bore you with all the times it went wrong. But this is after I got it to work, which I did. This is ready for Easter. Isn't that pretty? And then I liked it, funny enough, I liked it almost better in the pink. What about you guys? But how many times did it not work? How many times did I throw the bits into the garbage or recycling? That's really what I want you to understand, all right? Is just how many times I wanted to scream, just how many times I wanted to cry, just how many times I just wanted to give up because it's too difficult. But you know, there's a quote that says, difficult roads, Jody, lead to beautiful destinations. You don't get there by accident. And then, oh, here are some more of that one, some of the ones that went wrong. Now, just because I have done them enough that I can basically get them printing without too much effort doesn't mean they're going to be successful. Some of you will remember, hang on a second, that I did a series. Yeah, Jody wants to see that Easter one with purple or lavender. Yes, I'm sure I can. I think I might have some purple or lavender paper. I'll try some. Okay. So this is, how many of you remember the trees? Okay. So this is the trees with some silver, dark red glitter behind it. And this is now finished, all right? It's the very last step was gluing the trees to the glitter. And I don't know if you can see, but the spray glue I used left this mark. So after all this work, that one drop from my spray gun of the glue made this card a reject. Heartbreaking? Yeah. Heartbreaking. Well, how about this one with green glitter? Beautiful. Except when I put it together, something went horribly wrong just in this very last corner I put down. After all that work, reject. And remember that drop of glue? Same thing happened on this one. You see it? Where is it? Oh, it's here. There is this drop of glue. It's not the glue, it's the glue gun did that. Beautiful card. There you go, Jody, in your lavender color. And then here, another one. After all this work, okay? Again, it buckled here. I just didn't put it down flat. And by the time I realized it, it was too late. How frustrated do you think I am by the time I've done this? This one also had a drop of from the spray gun, and it was here. So how heartbreaking is that, right? How many cards, how much money is invested in producing those 5 cards? How much time is invested in making those 5 cards? And by the way, worse than that, the actual glitter I found I bought a new sort of glitter, and the color runs. It runs through onto the paper. I mean, all sorts of terrible things happening. So I was about to throw these away. And then I said to myself, that's a lot of money, and those cards don't make it to the perfect pile, but they're pretty nice anyway. Yes, Jody's saying it's part of the learning process, the road to getting it perfect. Now, I've never had a problem with these cards before, but I changed glue. And maybe that is the reason. I need to go back to the glue I was using originally. But, the whole thing is, before I throw them away, let me think. Can they bring joy? And I was thinking, what if I just put some envelopes with them and I send them to my local old age home? Do you think somebody would appreciate having a card that wasn't quite perfect to send to somebody? Right? It's still a beautiful card. It just doesn't make it to my perfect pile. And then I thought that would bring me joy. So now I'm going to do a bit of research and find out, where I can send them. And I will now keep one pocket just of, pretty good, but not perfect rejects. And then the paper and time won't be wasted. They will still bring somebody joy. Even if it's the person, if everybody at the old age home gets one. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I'm certain there is a way. But what I wanted you to remember, this is all about keeping my brain working, all right? One of the things I know is if I want to keep my brain working, I need to use it. If I want to keep my brain working, I need to give it problems to solve, like Dottie. And yes, it's frustrating. And yes, it makes me really angry at times. But the joy I get when it works is unbelievable. So I've got a question of you, though. How many of you remember, hang on a second. How many of you remember I made these flatware holders for Christmas? Okay. Now, because I actually, took a picture of the flatware, okay, like this, and then stuck it in here on the first one of every batch so that people could see that's what you want. I forgot to put the napkin in here, but I'll take another picture with that. But here is the thing I want you to ask you for your input. I want to make a nice one for the summer, because that's when people will be using a lot of knives and forks outside and things. So I was thinking, what picture would be pretty generic for barbecues and things? What do you think? So send me your ideas. If you're watching this on the replay, feel free to send me. In other words, I'm not going to have a Christmas tree, that's for sure. And let me know what you think the cutout should be. As you can see, that is cut out there. So exciting. So let's get back to the reality. The reality is that the secret of our success is what we never, ever give up on. All right? The missing tomato isn't there by chance. It is there because I toiled morning, noon, and night for 2 years to learn how to grow hydroponics. I cannot tell you the unmitigated joy I felt this morning when I saw that one tomato, and I'm going, I cannot believe that it worked. And then I burst out laughing, and I'm thinking, how many people will be rolling their eyes and saying, you mean you nurtured that thing for 4 months and all you got was one tiny little grape tomato? And I'm going, yeah, this shit. Okay, Jody's suggesting maybe some greenery like an herb sprig or something. Yeah, I'm thinking also possibly sunshine, a really nice stylized sun, for summer, or Easter bunnies for, I don't know, when do people start doing that, the first barbecue stuff? So here is the thing that I want you to understand. It doesn't matter how slowly you go, all right? Just as long as you don't stop. It doesn't matter if you take a year off this goal and give it more planning and really think it through. What did I miss out on? You all know that I take one step at a time on almost everything that I do. For example, you saw that last week I put together the hydroponic system. All right, that was my next one step for the garden, type stuff. I am waiting for pucks to arrive. That's the next step, ready for the spring. But in the meantime, you also know I'm already doing things for the spring in my garden, one step at a time. I wanted to, let me put these away for a second. By the way, talking about patience, I think some of you know that of all the Christmas things I did, this one takes the most time to get off the mat because it's so delicate in here at the windows. And guess what? This year, this most difficult one was the most popular with people. What I do is I like inviting people over and see what they go, oh, that is so pretty. I want to see what immediately attracts them. And I kept saying, of course, it has to be that one. But again, I've made enough now that I know how to do it much better. I took the time and the patience and did everything that I needed to do until I got it into a new way of doing it. The other thing is this, there's a quote here that says, never let anyone tell you what is possible. How many people have you heard about who have given a very short lifespan prognosis on something and then totally messed with it? And when I say totally messed with it, just they were given 6 months to live and 5 years later they're still there. Really strange noise going on outside. Oh, I think it's the garbage. They're a day late. So if you have stopped trying on any of your goals, what does that mean? Think about that. Because I can tell you what it means to me. If you have stopped trying on any of your goals, that means that it wasn't that important to you. Now, one step at a time in my bedroom, I sat there, each month I go through my different rooms and I go, what's one step you'd like to take here? And then I start planning it for the next season, sort of thing. Now, I've managed to, it's the garbage. I've managed to be a season ahead. For example, each season I change the pillow covers on my small cushions on my bed. All right, or the big ones, or both, depending on how I'm doing. So it just makes my bedroom look new every season. All right, it's just like I've got It's the most wonderful time of the year pillows on my bed at the moment with big red pillows. Now, any minute now, they're going to come off and the blue ones will go back on and probably white shag ones, just so that makes it nice and still in the Frozen theme, but it's still there. Yes. Jodi's saying that in terms of her goals, it may mean just a pause to recharge, reformulate a plan, but never give up. Yes, I keep saying, what do I need to do? One of the great things that I did was to say to myself, I can have a 5-star bathroom if I do it one step at a time. The other thing is I can also keep a 5-star bathroom if I don't leave it until it's clean and tidy. You know, a 5-star bathroom doesn't have very much on the countertop, does it? And so all the time I'm looking at ways to organize things better. And I'll talk a bit more about that on Sunday. But you know, it's all about keep asking yourself, what's the next one step? What's the next one step you need to tidy up? I was looking at my bedroom. I keep coming back and saying that, and I don't finish the sentence. But I keep looking at my bedroom, and in my bedroom, what I noticed was I've started to buy things like bulk toilet paper and stuff like that, and I'm putting them under my bed. Great place to store them. But not a great thing to look at every day. So for some reason, after the fire, when I bought bedding, I didn't buy a bed skirt. So, you know, that went on my list of things to buy. But a bit like Jody and the PS4 came before the Wii program, there were other things I needed before the bed skirt. I was prepared to look at the stuff under my bed. And then this month, I got the bed skirt. I'm very proud of myself, and it's on. And yes, it does make a difference. And yes, it was worth waiting for and saving up for and getting. I'm happy with it. How about this one? Churchill said, never give up on something that you can't go a day without thinking about. Right? If every time you walk into your kitchen you think, I really, then you want to do that. You just haven't spent enough time planning it out. And that's why I work a season ahead. All right. I don't want to think about the Christmas anymore. I'm already thinking spring and already, buying seeds and stuff ready for summer. And, you understand, I'm that far ahead because that's what it takes. How about this one? How many of you know this one to be true? You have to fight through some bad days to earn the best days of your life. For as long as I've known Jody, she's been pretty sick puppy. And yet I'm pretty sure that she will tell you some of her greatest learning and some of her greatest joys have come since she has been sick. Would I be right in that, Jody? I don't want to put words in your mouth, so if it's not true, feel free to correct me. But there's something about things going wrong that make you reevaluate your life, make you look at your life again in a totally different way. And so, yeah, Jody's saying absolutely correct and without a doubt that she has had some of her greatest learning and joys since she's been sick. She's learned what love really looks like. She's learned that she can do as much as she possibly can, and that's okay. It's enough. But she never stops trying to do more. And she never stops giving because that she can, however sick she feels, she still seems to be able to give of her time or of her mind. The two brain cells are still working, so why not share those? How about this one? If one dream should fall and break into 1,000 pieces, never be afraid to pick one of those pieces up and start again. I put the broken Dottie card in front of me so that every morning when I sat down in my craft room, I saw it and went, okay, that's not looking very pretty yet. I wonder what one step I can try today. And then I try another step and it didn't work. And I went, okay, but it's a little bit better than it was yesterday. That's a step forward. I'm happy with that. And then I'd go on to do something that hopefully would work better. Jody is saying my illnesses have taken away from me and also enriched my life in ways I never imagined. I learn every day. My job is to find joy in every day and share it. You see, Jody, you changed your reason for being. All right? I'm pretty certain if I'd met you 20 years ago, that wasn't your reason for being. The same way as I've always said that if my broadcast helps one person today, it's worth doing. It's quite simple. If it helps one person, then it's worth doing. And maybe that one person is me. I'm certain there's some days when I'm probably the only person that needed to do that broadcast. You know, because it keeps me thinking, it keeps me researching, it keeps me active, it keeps me doing the right things. Jodi's saying, you're absolutely correct. I'm not who I was 20 years ago, and I'm grateful for the lessons. Yes. And have you noticed, Jodi, that in all the time, we never run out of lessons? All right? Because if you look at your life, every day has a lesson in it. I never really work too hard at trying to find a subject for the Friday broadcast. I know that life will show it to me. It's just, every week it's just like I start, around about Thursday morning, I start going, I wonder what I'm going to do as the main topic for the Friday lunchtime tomorrow, and then something will happen and I'll go, that's the topic. Thank you, God. And how about this quote? One day you will thank yourself for not giving up. So I ask you out there in the big internet universe, what one thing can you think of in your life that you never gave up on and you're so glad that you didn't? And Jodi is adding in here, yes, learning comes in bits and pieces every day. Awareness is key. There are miracles everywhere if we only see them. Oh, isn't that the truth? So I look at going into my craft room not as a waste of time. I look at going into the craft room and making stuff my brain time. Okay? I could be doing jigsaw puzzles, which a lot of people in my community do at my age. I could be doing crossword puzzles. But I am somebody that likes pretty things. And therefore, making the cards brings me great joy, even if it takes days to get there. I was hearing from some people, and I'm still getting feedback from different people, but I know that Marnie, for example, came and brought a whole stack of cards and villages and things to take with her overseas. And she's just got back from that trip, and she said, I just want to tell you how much joy they brought to people. People were stunned at their beauty. And I'm going, was it worth the time to learn how to do them so that I could get that feedback? Yeah. How about this one? Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you have to keep moving. Jodi could curl up on her lazy boy thing and give up on the world. In fact, I think that's almost where she was when I met her 10 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever it was. But or she could choose to do the best she possibly can every day and surprise herself. I also think that part of this research, this patience and this reward of perseverance, for those of you who've got a pet, all right, it sounds like such a good idea when you think about it. And then the joy of getting a pet. And then comes the patience. Yeah, Lauren got herself a new puppy for Christmas, and guess what? It wasn't house trained. So she's got a lot of frustration going on and a lot of need to keep training the pet. But if she puts enough time and effort into it, she will have a house-trained pet that will give her even more joy. And I think about Jody with her little fluff ball called Taily. And Taily, absolutely delightful little white bundle of fluff. But last week, she suddenly got an owie on her chest. And of course, Jody just was in such concern about that. And one thing I was taught by a vet, Jody, which is if you don't want those moments of panic, she said I had a breakdown. Yeah. A vet told me once, Sal, if you don't want these moments of panic with your pets, don't have pets. You see, it's part of having a pet that they get sick. It's part of having a pet that you've got to teach them to be house trained or buy them at a year old. These sort of things are part of the reality of that. It's not all fun, is it? Owning a pet is very expensive. I used to say to people, I think it probably costs about $1,000 to $2,000 a year to keep a pet. By the time you factor in all the food and all the toys and all the vet visits and everything else, I reckon $1,000 to $2,000 a year just to have a pet. So, but people are prepared to give up other things to have that joy. And I totally get that. It makes total sense to me. People will roll their eyes because you work that hard through the whole of the autumn to get one tomato off that hydroponic plant. I grew that in water. It never saw earth. And it gave me a tomato. Oh, I'm so excited. You understand the possibilities now. And by the way, how many of you remember that I have been taking cuttings? I wanted to find out, could I keep my impatiens, or at least some of them, growing over the winter so that I wouldn't have to buy more this spring or late spring into the summer. Now, do you think some died? Of course they did. But this one's looking pretty healthy. What do you think? Looks like a pretty healthy plant to me. Now that's probably at that size, that is probably at least a $5 plant, maybe more. Here's another one, and it's going to Yvonne. I bought the container at the dollar store, and I bought, I bought the gravel there as well. But how many of you are going, that's a really nice present to give to somebody, something that's living, all right? Now, these three are looking pretty good. And I've even got some of that stuff that it trails really. Most of it died, but look at that. I got one bit that's living. This one, I'm not sure whether it's living or dead. I'll let you know. Oh, there's more of this coming up here. Can you see that? Can you see it? Must have seeded itself. How exciting is that? Now, just so you understand my logic, each one of these at this size that it is now is probably $5. So there's $15 there. I've got some in my back bedroom that are growing, and this one was really leggy, as you can see how big it is. So I've just put it into water, and we'll keep an eye on that one to see if it grows roots. I think it's going to, because I think I can already see them starting there. Can you imagine what a magnificent plant that's going to be if it grows roots? Oh, really exciting. And How about this one? This one looks a bit leggy. But you see, and it's got one of those little growy things on the side there. But I don't mind about it looking pretty leggy. What I want to know is it growing? Yes. Why? Because it means I can take a cutting off it and then make a new one. I'm probably up to about at least 2 dozen that I am growing now. So exciting. I'm starting to take them out of these small containers and put them into the bigger containers. And now the trick is, can I keep them going for the next couple of months? If I can, I'm going to have really big flowers. Now, the thing is, they're orange flowers, these. I didn't take the enough cuttings of the white double ones. That'll happen this year. But I probably bought a flat of these. That would be 24 at least $5 a time. Think about the money. So now I don't need to buy them this year. I've learned how to do my own cuttings. And I've got them all over the place. And every week I take more cuttings and I just drop them. Oh, look at that. Ah, so exciting. Can you see the roots on that? So this one here with all these roots, that one can now go into some soil and start growing in soil ready for the spring. And the rest of them will just continue to grow until they get roots or not. Some of them don't. But I go back to the whole point of this broadcast. I have to want to do this badly enough to spend the time, effort, and to be prepared to fail enough. All right? Does that make sense to you? I have to be prepared to fail enough. I know that, like the three wise men card, although I know exactly how to make them now, doesn't mean they will all go well. Look how many of those tree cards I have made and not had a problem, and this week half a dozen of them failed. I was devastated. But that's life. Luckily, it doesn't take me that long to cut another half a dozen, which is on my list for next week. So, but on the other hand, I could give up doing it altogether. What's the point? Well, I want to. I enjoy it. Remember that no matter how much it hurts right now, one day you'll look back and realize it made you stronger. All right? I look at the amount of time and money I invest in the cards, right? Because I'm constantly buying new stock and new ideas. I want different papers or whatever. And, I'm going, it's okay. It's a hobby. I could be spending this at McDonald's or at the casino or at the dog track. It's like it's a hobby. And it brings me great joy. It is okay to do it. Strength doesn't come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. You have to really want things. How many of you know the reason I am putting in twice as many steps this year as last year is I found a way to make it fun. Now, during the pandemic, finding the Wii machine made it fun because I wasn't allowed to be outside a lot. All right, we were in lockdown. So I had to find something that I could do inside. Now that taught me what I needed to know for this year. So when I thought about this year, I thought, what is it about the Wii program that you liked? Or the walking program, without a doubt, that Wii Fit walking thing was my favorite, walking around the island. But it got pretty boring after a while. So then I thought, okay, I need something that isn't as boring. And then I researched it. I spent a lot of time online looking at programs to research, walking. And what I found was that everybody rated this particular one that I'm doing very highly. And they don't make it anymore, and it required a lot of my Wii broke, so I needed to buy a second one. They don't make them anymore. I had to buy a second-hand one out of the States. All sorts of trouble. But boy, am I glad I did it, because I really look forward to doing this. It's a cross between walking and a Sims program. The more you walk, the more tokens you win. The more tokens you win, the more things you can buy. And you start off by buying stupid things like a tree here and there, which is very exciting. But it's amazing how many trees you have to buy. And then it gets really exciting. You get to buy a bridge. That's 1,000 steps for a bridge, people. You need to understand that. You have to really want it. But you see, I try to do about 6,000 steps a day just on that program. So I start every time I go there to walk. I take a token for something that takes 600 or 1,000 steps. Why? I know I'm going to do that many because I'm going to be there for half an hour. I probably do 3,000 steps. So it's not. It is a built-in win for me. And it's amazing where I'm getting such joy. I'm now, I'm got cars now. I've got quite a few apartment buildings. I've got some boutiques going up now. It's I'm into the big time now. But it keeps it interesting, which makes me want to do it more. I'm already thinking, I have 2 times a day. I try to put in an hour a day, half an hour around about, early evening, and then another half an hour at 11 o'clock at night. Because that's what it takes. Am I prepared to give up some binge time? Am I prepared to give up some game time to walk? Yes, because the walking itself is a game. Because you're busy buying things and creating things, and it's clever. Because the victory is always just around the corner, never give up. I don't care if it takes you 5 years, don't give up. And the other thing is, some of you are saying, I don't know if I've got 5 years. Well, I don't know if I've got 5 minutes, quite honestly. But I live as though I have, right? I'm constantly into the next season. I'm already planning, my garden for next season. I've got this incredible list here that tells me what I can start planting seedling wise. And I didn't know that, you can put kale into the garden. Talking about kale. So exciting. I think I took pictures for you. Hang on. I'm pretty sure I took a picture for you. Yes, I did. Turn sideways. Turn. Turn. All right, don't turn. Okay. That is in my hydroponic system. That is kale. Now, do any of you get a little buzz just looking at that? Or is it just me? It's difficult to see here, but on the left there, that is a pepper. Look, it's already over 6 inches tall. And this is a leek that I've already cut it, harvested it. So it's a bit like the lettuces, all right? I have already harvested one of the leaves of my leek and eaten it. So exciting. And my goal is to keep these experiments going until I find, can I be self-sufficient? About the time I do that, I may be going into a care home. But you see, I don't mind. It's bringing me such joy. How many of you can imagine every morning I wake up and I go to the hydroponic system and I go to see, has anything else started to grow? Oh, look at that. Basil has started to grow. I don't think I took a picture. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I did. Did I take a picture? No. Yes. Hang on. I think that's basil. I think that's basil starting to grow. So to me, it gives me life. It gives me reason to enjoy my day, right? I go in and by the way, Jody left, but I literally every day, um, I I have a lighting system in there to make sure they get 12 hours a day of light. But what I also realize, if I want the plants to grow strong, they also need to uh, have some sort of natural things happening to them. So what I do is I put my fan that is outside that room. I put my fan on for an hour a day so that the wind blows the seedlings. Why? It'll make them stronger. And you can roll your eyes and laugh, but it's all part of my plan. I want healthy, strong seedlings, not weak ones. So, it's just like I make a lot of my own fun. It was an amazing comment that came from one of my neighbors over Christmas. Gosh, Sal, don't you get bored? And I go, bored? That is not a word that I would put in my life at all. And some of you who know me would agree with me. I'm always planning something. I'm always scheming on something. Um, how did the hydroponics start? I can't I can't remember. But the aero garden thing that doesn't work the way it's meant to. It is part of my seed growing system. I got two beautiful tomatoes in there, Jody. I think they're two of yours. Hang on. Jody, you remember, I think only two survived, but here's one of them. Look how the roots are growing now. So I put them in the aero garden to grow really big roots. That seemed to work. Hold on. And then oh, get in there. I know this one came out of the aero garden. This is an impatient, but look at the roots. Now, the trick is, how do you get it back in? So, oh, yeah, that's going to be a challenge. All right, so the way to get it back in, I've discovered, is you keep turning it. There you go. Go in. Now, a year ago, I couldn't do that. And by the way, are these, Jody? If you hadn't shown me the what's it called, Everlife? Fairlife. If you hadn't shown me this milk that I swear by now, I wouldn't have all these containers. And here's something else, Fairlife. Yep. What I've realized as well is I've got railings all around my patio, and they fit beautifully between the railings. So you understand, I can have a whole series of these all the way around my deck this summer. And that means that I will be looking at flowers all around my deck. And I will be putting some of my tomatoes and stuff there because I will use the deck as its trellis work for peas and stuff like that. How exciting is that? But again, how long did it take, right? And where does it go from here? I will probably be feeding half the neighborhood in a couple of years. One of the things I liked about the hydroponic system that I bought, you understand, I had about, what was it, about 8 kale seeds growing already in a week. Let me show you what I did. I'm doing an experiment, of course, on the side. I bought some seeding trays, and this is dripping a lot. This has got lettuce in it. Been there for a week or more. I've got some others here that are orbretta. Been there for a week, nothing happening. And yet the orbretta in my hydroponic system are already starting. That's the other one, basil and orbretta are starting to grow. So that's what I'm doing. Is it quicker to grow them in a seed tray type system or in the hydroponic system? So here's my thinking. How many plants do I really need? How many kale plants do I need per season? Not many. If you think about it, I'm a single person. But wouldn't it be wonderful to have 6 kale plants coming up all the time? In other words, when those are grown big enough that they can come out of the hydroponics and into, pots or into, which is probably where they will go, I will be planting the next batch. If that works, and this is the excitement to me, if that works, I will be self-sufficient in kale. I will not need to buy kale again. All right? And that is, to me, that's exciting. Now, will I have spent a lot of money getting there? Of course I will. But again, I spent money on things that will bring me joy. I spent money in things that will have a positive impact on my life. I didn't hand it over to the casino. You know what I mean? It's just like, think about that. So I am a happy camper. And I believe, as Jody has demonstrated, if you want it badly enough, you will always find the time and you will make a way to make it possible to find the money. And I am on a budget where I allow myself so much a month. Yes, I'm not spending the money on cigarettes. Think about that. Gave up 10 years ago. I thought I wrote about that. Yeah, 10 years ago. All right. What is the day? Today is the 6th. Well, next week. It'll be 10 years next week. And I look at it and go, I could have wasted a lot of different money. I literally have fun every week. I window shop, and then when it comes to actually the day that I can order, which is normally on a Sunday, I then go, okay, what do I need to wait for? And some drop into, luckily there's a little tab that says wait until later. Now, I also make mistakes. For example, I was really horrified that I couldn't buy the deep blue. You remember the deep blue that is behind the 3 wise men? That midnight blue? Beautiful. But it ran out towards Christmas. So I know that I'm starting to buy it now. But guess what? I found some, but when it arrived, it was way thicker than the stuff I normally use, which meant that I couldn't cut those intricate stars and things out of it. So I went, but wait a minute, I can still use it. I can still use it for behind the deer or behind the trees. That midnight blue is still going to look absolutely beautiful. Don't talk about the trees this week. So, it's just like, yes. And then I also started to think about, why am I having these problems with this glue? And I'm going, time for some more research. It makes sense. It's not failure. It's like, I've got this far. Now I don't need this problem again. So what do I need to, first of all, I've learned to waste a bit of glue before you spray. In other words, get the glue thing going before you spray over the paper. Then the drips are inclined to be less. Small things. I look at it all as an ongoing experiment. I don't see it as failure. It's just like, this doesn't work. How are you going to get it to work better? Because you want it to work better. I am finding that, each day I go in there, I look at my craft room. What one thing, you remember last week or the week before, I built a new section in my craft room. All right. I've been planning that for a long time, bit by bit. What one thing would make it more convenient for me? And it took a whole lot of mess to put that one thing together. And I'm still undoing that mess, but it's so much more practical now. So look at your house and go, I don't have to redo the whole thing, right? I don't have to tidy up the whole house. What one thing is going to make it tidier? Obviously, I've now got an awful lot of stuff on my top here. So this is all got to be put away again so that it's not cluttering up my worktop, because I got to do a broadcast this evening. But it's like, I can do this. And here's my next thought. I have a huge glass dining room table that you can't see behind here, an 8-seater type glass table. And I'm going, don't laugh at me, I'm going, what if that turns into my nursery for the rest of the winter and spring until I can plant things out or get them outside into the covered deck, which probably will be late April, May, that I'll be able to put them on the deck. And you're going to do that in your dining room? Well, how many times have I used my dining room this last year for anything other than show? So why not? I've got a perfectly good sit-up counter here where when people come, that's where we incline to have dinner anyway. Why? Because I cook while they eat and things like that. So it's the way that we do it. It's like, what works for me? And what I would have to let go of is the fact that people would maybe walk in and go, what are you doing? And I'm actually saving money is what I'm doing. What did we say? Yeah, already I got 24 plants at $5 each. That's a lot of money, people. And by the time it gets to spring, I could have 48. It's going to look so pretty, isn't it? Orange, but I'll get over that this year. When I go to the nursery, I will buy the tiny little white ones with the double heads on them. They look like roses. I love them. And those are the ones that I will keep for next year. Yes, and Jody's saying people could also come and be amazed at the experiment. My friends will just not even do anything other than just politely roll their eyes at me and go, yeah, why not? Why not, right? So, when you look at all these things, and I ask you, life is constantly asking us to change. Life is constantly thinking. You remember I was saying about the one card where I've been making that one for 2 years now. And suddenly I'm having problems with it. You see, life is constantly challenging us. But you see, if you understand that's part of life, for every 6 wise men I want to produce, I cut 8. You see, I know that there's going to be an issue with 1 or 2, maybe. Sometimes it doesn't happen, in which case I'm 2 ahead on the next batch. But you see, I plan to have the bits ready in case it does. Does that make sense? Part of my planning is the failure. That it won't all go perfectly. And that's not because I'm not good at what I do. That is because that is life. Life throws you these terrible wrenches every now and then. and you're either ready for it or you're not. So I look at it and go, what is it that you want to do this year that you've been promising yourself you're going to do for years and years? If you haven't done it, do you really want to do it? I would say a lot of it you need to kick to the curb, because it's pretty obvious that you don't want to do it, unless, of course, you keep thinking about it. And if you keep thinking about it, and we'll talk more about this on Sunday, but make sure you keep it in your day timer. I still haven't found my passport, but it's the first thing on my list every week. Find the passport. It's going to turn up, but here's the next thing. Because it hasn't yet, and that's been, a season that I haven't been able to find it, I am now seriously considering reapplying. And I'll talk with Yvonne about that, because she has all the documentation for me to do that, because she helped me do it last time. So I know I've got all the documentation, and I'm going to be seeing Yvonne on Saturday. And I'm, starting to think it's time that I need to just realize that I might have lost it. And just reapply. I'm not the first person in the world to lose a passport. So look at your life and go, what is it you want to do? If you want to do something in addition to your regular life, something is going to have to shift. All right? In order for me to spend an hour a day exercising, I had to find things that I normally spend an hour a day doing that I needed to stop or spend less time doing. Does that make any sense? I had to decide, was getting exercise more important to me than playing games or watching TikTok? And the answer was yes. I am now surprised. I did an experiment, of course. I did an experiment this week. I went back to the Wii program and walked around the island to see how long it took me. I know this is difficult to believe, but a year ago, it used to take me 15 minutes to walk around the island. I'm pretty sure that's what it took me. 12 to 15 minutes. I did it in 10. Even I was surprised. I'm going, really? I did it in 10? So that was interesting. I'm that much more fit this year. So these little things are exciting to me. And that's what keeps me going. So if you don't have things that you're working towards, then I'm pretty certain you will get bored, you will get depressed, you will do whatever. But if you're constantly going, what is my next step in my kitchen? What is my next step in my dining room? I'm really thinking about clearing that table off now. What is my next step, in whatever? Not a big step, a small step. You will constantly have wonderful frustration that will lead to wonderful joy, because you will have planned to do something. I'm amazed how many things I write down at the beginning of the week that I seem to get done, even though they're not on my daily thing. I seem to get them done just because I wrote them down. Does that make sense to anybody? So that's my message to you. Remember the 3 Ps of plan. What are you planning for spring right now? Do you know what clothes you'd like to have? Because, maybe you can buy one new top every month, so that by the time spring comes, you will have a new top. Or maybe you buy a top 1 month and something to go with it, pants or shorts or whatever you choose to have, a skirt, whatever it is you wear. You can do that and maybe the 3rd month you buy the shoes to go with the outfit. You understand? You can plan these things if you're smart. And Then you go to yourself and then dream about the summer. Now, how many of you know I paid a fortune last year? I said a fortune, but I bought Birkenstocks 2 years ago, right? Um, I bought white Birkenstocks and loved them for the summer. I bought the black ones this year, even though they were pricey. I bought the black ones. Do you know I have lived in these all winter? Lived in them. And what I noticed was because they're Birkenstocks and they're properly made and all those sort of things, I have not had the edema problems. You know, that's where your feet swell up. I have not had the edema problems that I normally have. Okay, so Jeannie's saying, we bought a double bed frame that suddenly broke. I recently bought a simple new one that is arriving soon. At least being new, it should not break. Exactly. Yes, so Jody's saying about my Birkenstocks, they were expensive, but I've lived in them. It saved me buying 3 other pairs of cheap shoes that broke. It makes sense. By the way, I have a collection of the most interesting shoes. I still have a collection. Cubies full of them. What am I going to do with them this year? Shall I donate them? Yes, Jeannie's saying that the Birkenstocks are so good for your feet. They're so good for my edema. That's the whole thing. So was it worth the money so that I didn't have this, the incredibly swollen ankles and things? Yes, because I know they're exercising my feet properly. Now, I would like to say as well, and Jody would be able to help me on this one, I also have what they call neuropathy on my feet. That's from diabetes, where you lose your nerves have a problem. So you go numb in certain areas. I will have to tell you that my neuropathy has not got any worse. And if anything, I'm busy rolling up onto my big toes because that's where I really have the neuropathy issues. I think if anything, I would say my neuropathy is slightly better by wearing the Birkenstocks. Is that possible? Can you rebuild those nerves? And by the way, for those of you who want a walking program that is fun, here's the thing. What I've discovered by doing the walking program that I do is that it is a combination of the music beat, right, and walking. So if you are like Jody is a big Duran Duran fan, and Jody, if you learn when you go to the kitchen to hold on to the countertop and just literally roll onto your toes. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm not lifting my feet. I'm just using my legs to roll onto my toes and down again. If you could do that 20 times each time you manage to get to the kitchen, you know how it would strengthen your muscles in your legs? Am I making sense? I hope you can see that. Right? And so here is the thing. For those of you who can do this for longer, just go to whatever program, YouTube Music, whatever, and put on your favorite artist. Doesn't matter. And just put on a mix of their songs and just literally dance your way like this to 3 or 4 songs. You know how much exercise that is? Let me see. I've just been doing it a little bit. My heart rate is at 84. I'm just going to carry on doing it for a while. So, because the different beat of the different songs, you're going to use more energy. But boy, can you feel that in all the muscles of your legs, all right? So you don't have to have a program if you don't want to. You could just choose to do it every time you go to your kitchen. Thought about that? Or do a few every time you go to the bathroom on your, hold on to the counter in your bathroom and do 10. 10. And what did that do? Just that little bit. Yeah, that pushed it up a bit more. So you see, You understand, this is about what do you want to do? Do you want to do it badly enough? Do you want it badly enough? If so, you don't have to do 3 hours of exercise. It's can you improve what you're doing a little bit? And if you've got the counter to hold on to, all right, it's also, quite honestly, it's also sort of what I call weight resistance for your upper body, because you carry part of your weight on your hands like this. It's all a good idea. And one thing I found out last year, when your body deteriorates, and our bodies all deteriorate when we get older, they deteriorate from the feet up. In other words, your feet are the first to go. Your feet and legs, all right, are the first to go. If you don't use them, I don't care if it's difficult, if you don't use them, you will lose them. And so to me, I know that my walking program is about not only getting oxygen to my pathetic brain, but it also is about using the lower part of my body, because I want to be able to use it for a long time. And I had started to atrophy, um, but it's okay. It's okay. I started to do something about it. Now, will I reach the point where who knows how much time I have? I have no idea. All I know is I'm going to do the best I can to stay in balance in more ways than one. So Jodi's saying, very true. My doctor said the deterioration begins anywhere that is farthest from the heart. Yes, so your hands and your knees down. If you think about it, if you put your hands down, all right, so your feet and legs up to here are going to go. Now, your brain is closer, but if you're not getting oxygen to your brain, then you're not helping yourself. Do you get outside and breathe fresh air every day? I don't care for how long. Just go and open a window if you have to. Breathe fresh air, not the regurgitated air. Do what you can. For those of you who know my big thing from Benji was that day he said to me, Sal, let's make it easy for you. Eat the rainbow. How many of you love that? I was quite surprised. I was talking to my sister this week, and I must have mentioned it to her because she said, and my sister said I need to eat the rainbow. And I thought, wow. And she listened. And so now she's saying, I don't normally like beets, but I found out I can eat beets and feta cheese together, because I need to eat more red. That's the color that most people don't eat, right? They don't eat enough red. And so tomatoes, beets, what else? There's more. How can I think? Oh, red peppers. Think about the reds. Do you have red on your plate every day? Somewhere. So these are all little things that make a big difference to our lives. So that's it for today. I want to make sure that you understand that getting to a goal is not a lucky thing. Jody is not going to be able to enjoy the PS4 all for the rest of the winter, or maybe the rest of the year, because it just happened to drop on her lap. She had to work so hard to get that working. And she only had to do that because she wanted to do the walking program and wanted to make sure Lionel got his program before she got hers. Typical Jody. But think about it. She's now going to start going back to looking after herself, which was the whole idea in the first place. So Jody, there are times when maybe Lionel could have done that for himself. All right? And it was a lovely thought, no doubt about it. But you put your needs on hold for 2 months while you sorted that out. Think about that. And all I'm saying is make sure you get that thing working and start working with it, because The more you use your feet, you're going to need them in the spring and and in the summer. And I want to make sure that you're able to walk much better than you did last year. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, do you want it enough to do it? That is the question. Do you want to grow your own cuttings enough to learn how to do it and to fail and to get frustrated and then find, boy, I've managed to get 24 of them working. How exciting is that? And 24 is a that's a whole flat. I just saved myself a stack of money because it's getting easier now that we've turned the corner and going towards spring. I could have way, and I could probably double it again by the spring. So I look at it and go, it's going to be fun. So it's not by chance, it's by planning, it's by practice. It is by perseverance, being prepared to fail a couple of times, and then you can do it. When you get that strongly in your mind, when part of being somebody who is a crafter making cards is throwing paper away, that is part of the experience, is you have to throw paper away. You have to go, it's like kissing enough frogs till you get to the prince, right? It's part of the process. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, that is emotional intelligence when you understand that. And not that when it goes wrong, you think you have failed. It is not failure. It is part of the process. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, we'll see you tonight. And bye-bye for now. Thanks, Jody.